SR93 Boxing, I'm back with a quick video. I want to talk about the Kell Brook and Errol Spence fight and why I think it's the most intriguing fight that's coming up. There's some really good fights that already happened and that's gonna come up soon. Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko, for example. Canelo versus Chavez, I think that's a great fight. But see, the Kell Brook versus Errol Spence fight is intriguing, I feel like the Kell Brook fans, a lot of Kell Brook fans are saying Kell Brook's going to win easily. I feel like they're underestimating Errol Spence, and a lot of people that are saying Errol Spence would win easily is underestimating Kell Brook. I feel like both sides are underestimating each other. Now, let me tell you why this is an intriguing fight. There's questions to be asked for both fighters, not just Errol Spence or Kell Brook, for both. Questions for Kell Brook, for example. Kell Brook's best win was against Sean Porter. And it was, I feel like, convincing, but close win. It was a difficult win. Errol Spence, his best win was against Chris Algieri, who's not on a level of Sean Porter, in my opinion. Errol Spence, however, still destroyed him. So it was like, yeah, the best opposition that they fought is different. Kell Brook fought better opposition, but at the same time, Errol Spence dominated the opposition that he faced. So, it's kind of like, it's very hard to point out who's better like that. Obviously Kell Brook has faced better oppositions, no doubt. Now, one of the questions is, keep in mind that Sean Porter gave Kell Brook a good fight. A fight that I felt like Kell Brook won easily. Not easily, but like convincingly. Like, Kell Brook's punches were a lot more cleaner, more effective. Just more, it was affecting Sean Porter more than Sean Porter was affecting Kell Brook with his punches. But at the same time, one of the reasons he was able to beat Sean Porter was he was able to hold Sean Porter on the inside really well. I can't blame him too much. He did hold quite a lot more than I wish he did. But, if the referee doesn't stop it, then that's not Kell Brook's fault. He did what he felt like he had to do to win the fight. Against Sean Porter's a strong guy. But Kell Brook was, strong enough to hold Sean Porter on the inside. And, a lot of European fighters do not tend to have a very good inside game. Yes, there are exceptions, but on the whole, Kell Brook was able to hold Sean Porter. Now, keep in mind, Errol Spence is bigger than Sean Porter. Errol Spence is also a very good fighter on the inside, although in different aspects, Sean Porter is a lot more faster, but Errol Spence, I feel like, is bigger, stronger, and also more technically sound. So that's another thing as well. One thing is, will Kell Brook be able to hold Errol Spence like that? Will he be able to nullify Errol Spence's inside game? Because that's really his main advantage. Errol Spence's inside game, body shots. How will he do against Errol Spence on the inside? Will he be able to keep Errol Spence? Because here's another thing. Kell Brook might be able to maintain distance against Errol Spence. We never know, right? Again, Sean Porter is a person who has fast feet, unlike Errol Spence. Errol Spence doesn't really have that fast footwork, to be honest. Sean Porter has a lot faster feet, so maybe you needed to hold him, but maybe against Errol Spence, you don't need to hold him. You can just hit him with a few shots and make him respect your power. So Kell Brook can do that, but also it's another question. Like, this is a question for both, right? Will Errol Spence be able to close the distance? Sean Porter, like, he's kind of short. He uses his short height to come towards you. He's kind of like fast as well, so it's very hard to get him off you. But at the same time, I feel like Errol Spence is stronger. So will Errol Spence be able to get the better of do better against Kell Brook than Sean Porter did on the inside? Will Kell Brook be able to minimize Errol Spence's strength on the inside? See, these are the sort of questions that it's kind of, this fight is like a lot of fights, when you go in there, it's like a question for one fighter. Can this fighter do it? Can this fighter do it? With anyone, can this fighter do it? This fight, on the other hand, it's a question for both of these fighters. I feel like this will answer, sometimes in most fights, as I said, is for one fighter. The questions, like, can fighter A really beat fighter B? Because, we kind of, I don't know how to explain it, man. But I guess, I hope you know what I mean. In this fight, we're going to get answers for questions for both fighters. Can Errol Spence do this? Can Kell Brook do that? Also, another thing is, Kell Brook, as I said, even though he's not as fast and relentless as Sean, no, he's relentless, but he's not like fast, right? As Sean Porter. So even though he's not as fast as Sean Porter, he's more technically sound, right? And he's bigger, and he's just better in my opinion. So Sean Porter gave Kell Brook a close fight, although convincing, but close. And the reason why Sean Porter did not make it convincing is because even though he's fast, he just doesn't have his technique right. His technique is off. He smothers his own punches so much. But Errol Spence, I feel like is a little bit better than Sean Porter in many ways. But Errol Spence is someone who's a bit slower, so it's like, damn, like, is Errol Spence better than Sean Porter for Kell Brook? Like, those are the sort of questions that we need the answers for. So it'd be an interesting fight. For keys to victory, I personally think Kell Brook needs to stay on the outside. He needs to establish his jab. He needs to establish the right hand for sure. Errol Spence is southpaw. Kell Brook needs to use his footwork, but not really move around too much. I think he needs to control the center of the ring. Because Errol Spence will probably have more of an advantage if Kell Brook is pinned on the ropes. So I think Kell Brook needs to control the center of the ring. Errol Spence. Actually, no. Let me finish off Kell Brook's things. Errol Spence is a come forward fighter. And Errol Spence has been rocked before, right? And Kell Brook needs to surprise him with power. There's something about Kell Brook that kind of surprises you with the timing and the accuracy. So Kell Brook has to use that. He has to surprise Errol Spence. He has to make Errol Spence respect Kell Brook's power, and that way, Errol Spence will, hopefully for Kell Brook, Errol Spence will think twice before coming forward. On what else does he have to do? I guess let me think. Not really. Just some basic, keeping it basic, but countering him. I think he has to be a good counterpuncher, maintaining distance, occasionally give him angles. Right hand has to be key. And he has to kind of make Errol Spence trying to get to him, but then Kell Brook has to counter him. He has to make Errol Spence respect his power, basically, think twice before going forward and stuff like that. Errol Spence, on the other hand, has to be, a bit methodical. He can't rush in like Sean Porter. He has to go to Kell Brook's body, and he has to go to Kell Brook's body. Establish his jab. I guess the southpaw jab is very awkward when you know how to use it. That's one thing I'll say. A lot of southpaws don't really have a good jab. That's just from my experience. But when the person it's kind of awkward. Jab is coming from a different angle. I know the right hand can work, but Errol Spence just has to keep his guard up. He has to work the body. He has to be smart with what he does. He can't just walk through Kell Brook. That's one thing that a lot of Errol Spence fans are saying, that he's going to walk through Kell Brook. That's not the case. Kell Brook is a big guy himself, bigger than everyone that Errol Spence has fought. So, Errol Spence has to work the body. He has to go to the head as well. He really has to, keep his work rate up when he's on the inside. He has to cut the ring off very well. Errol Spence knows how to cut the ring off pretty well. And, Errol Spence can be a little bit more awkward than what people think. And I think he has to do that, to kind of offset Kell Brook's timing and everything. He has to do that. And he has to kind of keep up his work rate, Errol Spence is a lot more accurate than Sean Porter. He has to be more accurate as well. And, he has to, just a good high work rate with some decent accuracy, good body work, mixing up head to the body. Using his footwork, I think he can use some decent footwork, but he has to be, he doesn't have the fastest footwork, but he can have decent footwork when he uses it, and I think he needs to use it. And, box a bit more. Not outbox him necessarily, but just box when you need to box, as opposed to just going there recklessly. Straighten up a few punches, body shot, shorten up the punches. When I say short straight, what I mean by is nothing See, a lot of times you can throw a long straight from a distance, but when you throw a short straight, you kind of put your shoulders forward as well. So what that means is like you kind of shorten the distance between you and the target just by moving the shoulders forward, like twisting and moving the shoulders forward. And that can reduce the distance between you and your opponent. So, it can really... and a lot of times when people do that, like when I tried it on sparring once, you're able, like, you move your shoulder, you're feinting with the shoulder constantly, you kind of feint, suddenly you put your shoulder forward and throw. It's very hard, and especially when you're sort of person who tends to kind of, you're looking like he has a feel just looking down, like Danny Garcia does, like a lot of fighters do. It's very hard to see the punches coming. Like, I don't know. Yeah, man, I think Errol Spence just needs to just go to the body and things. Just tire out Kell Brook and then come to the head. Once you tire out the body, you can tire out you can take his head off. Now, also another thing is Kell Brook will move around more. Body shots will definitely slow him down. But that's really what he has to do. That's kind of like the general keys to victory. I don't want to go into too much detail. I'll probably make a prediction video soon. SR93 Boxing, I'm out.